These are going to be all about manipulating stuff around, bringing in all the tips and tricks, So one of them that we grazed on earlier was like if you had 5 and it was raised to log 517 or something, if your exponent was the same as the base, like the 5 log 5 part, these are inverse operations, so they just cancel each other out. So you would just be left with the 17. So you might need to remember stuff like that, right? You might need to remember the multiplication property and division property. We'll get there. So this first one, I'll show you 2 different ways you could solve this. First thing you can do is assign a base to both sides. So we can give it both base 3 on both sides. So look at this, and we're going to give it the new base. So now this becomes the exponent. Same thing on the right side. We'll give the 3 as the base, so it's 3 to the 2nd power. So when we do that, all of this stuff, this 3 log 3 cancels out, and we're left with x minus 5. Now on the other side, we have 3 to the 2nd power. 3 to the 2nd power is 9. So x minus 5 is 9. You add 5 to both sides, and you're left with x equals 14. So you can assign a new base to both sides as long as you give that same base to both of them. Another way you can do this problem is the initial setup, log 3 x minus 5 equals 2, is you could just write it in exponential form. So you'd say 3 to the 2nd power equals x minus 5. And then 3 squared is 9. So you're left with 9 equals x minus 5. You add 5, and you end up with 14 that way. So whichever way you're more comfortable with, go with it. It gets you the same answer. All right, let's take a peek at letter B. Log 45x minus log 3 equals 1. They have the same base there. They're both base 10, right? If nothing's written there, there's an invisible 10. So subtraction, if they're the same base, remember you can divide those two things. So we're going to make this log 45x over 3 equals 1. Remember, there's an invisible 10 there. So this is where I would set up the equation. 10 to the 1st power equals 45x over 3. 10 to the 1st power equals 45x over 3. Now, 45x divided by 3 is just 15x. I could have done that first. It didn't really matter. So we have 10 to the 1st is 10. 45x divided by 3 is 15x. And then we just got to divide that 15 on both sides. And 10/15 would simplify to 2/3. So x equals 2/3. They're tough. I mean, you got to pull all the tricks out of the bag. Now this one, pay attention, folks. Pay attention. Remember this exponent, we can, there we go. You can kick it out to the front, so it becomes 2 log 4x equals 7. And it's 2 times the log 4 stuff. So we can divide both sides by 2 right away. And we'd have log 4x equals 7 over 2. And then we can set up our equation here. We could put it in exponential form. We could say 4 to the 7/2 power, equals x. And then you're like, dude, that's crazy with the 7 over 2. But 4, if you remember, is 2 squared. So we can even manipulate this more. Now remember, with exponents, if you raise a power to a power, you're multiplying. So 2 times 7 is 14, divided by 2 is 7. So we have 2 to the 7th equals x. Now, that's our final answer, or you could say x equals 128. That's what 2 to the 7th power is. Either one of those work. That one was really tough. We got